Welcome back to another Titan Esports interview, everyone. My name is Faris, showcaster here at Titan Esports. This time, we're looking into the Vanquisher League with half-orc Barbarians Revnon and LL Cool Jayce. Revnon being the AD carry, LL Cool Jayce the mid laner. And to start here, let's get some little bit of a background information on you guys. Oh, by the way, Gengar on your screens is LL Cool Jayce and the other is Revnon. What are your guys' competitive history in Titan in general? Do you guys know each other before? Have you played on a team with each other before? What's that history between you two?
I'm not certain we have. I don't know. We haven't played on a team together before. I met Cool Jayce through SDC, along with the rest of our teammates. Actually, we're all from Seasonal Draft Championship. But this is my first opportunity to play on a team with Mr. Jayce here, and I asked him specifically because I figured his playstyle would complement mine because I had to build the team around me.
I don't have much to add to that except I've been playing competitive for a year and a half now. I'm really enjoying it.
So, go ahead.
Oh yeah, personally, I've been around in like the tournament scene for like a decade. I've been kind of bouncing around from place to place, skill bracket to skill bracket, and
He's an old man.
Now this current adventure is experimental, you could say.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that in a couple minutes. So you could say you're a seasoned veteran here. So this half-orc barbarian roster, you guys said you came over from a draft league, you built this roster. It's not like you guys are under the umbrella of an organization that has multiple teams like Summit or Elysium or Dorado. How did this team come together? How did you guys collect everyone and form this team to play in Vanquisher this time?
Originally, last split, I wanted to be in Vanquisher doing this already, and I kind of had a team put together, but a couple people on it backed out. They just didn't want to play comp at the time. And then I had like a week to get on a team for some tournament. Ended up playing top lane and Risen again. Got second place that time, so not bad.
Nice.
But then this time I was like, okay, I'm going to get my ducks in a row before anything starts. So like right near the end of the last Vanquisher split, I asked everybody was interested in being on this team if they wanted to play. And I got names down already, and here we are. So far we've only had our first like jungler, or actually our first and second jungler fall through. First one, he's just like, it was Caesark, says he's too busy with his new kid, is on a different team 5 weeks later anyway. So sure. And we started this season out with Zaki on jungle, and he's cool, good player. He just about 3 weeks in, he decided he wasn't really feeling playing League, so he has to be replaced. So now we got our boy Indivine, also from SDC. So if I need somebody, I just go pull someone from that Discord, you know?
Yeah. So, okay, so you kind of were the quarterback then, Revnon, of pulling people together to bring this team on board. And how did you guys, just to kind of answer this question too, how did you guys come up with the name of Half-Orc Barbarian? Where did that come from?
I'm actually playing a Half-Orc Barbarian in a D&D campaign right now. I'm about to play later at 8:30.
Okay.
I'd say that's like my favorite class to play in D&D or Baldur's Gate, whatever you want. And I thought that it would be pretty fitting because we're probably playing more Bruiser champs than any other team, what with our lack of marks.
Yes, and so your lack of marksman, that was the biggest thing when looking through your guys' games. And so I'll have a couple questions specifically to you, Revnon, and we'll fire away at these. So you're a support player from what I see in solo queue, right?
Nope.
No. Well, I saw a lot of support games on OP.GG. Then maybe my eyes were failing me, but where does your unique playstyle come from? Like, what is it? Why? I guess you said you're experimenting. Like, what's the whole deal with this, with these melee champions?
So around the time I started playing League, I've been a top laner since then. That was in like season 2. Okay. That's where I gravitated towards. I like playing the champions. But like by accident, this is just the abridged version. By accident, me and my friend, who's like lower ranked, so we're just playing normals. He's a support player. I'm just like, well, I'm gonna just go bot lane with you, but just pick the champs I want to play anyway. And what we found was basically the craziest kill lane ever, which was at the time Sett Swain. This was before Swain's mini rework, where he could pull off of someone else's CC. So, like, what we would routinely do is like flash, stun somebody near our turret. He would pull them behind me, and I'd ult them into the turret. And we could do that like clockwork. It was so funny. And people would get so upset. And then so I kept experimenting with it a little bit. And then around the time my first SDC split rolled around, I was like, I'm going to sign up and do bot lane. And I actually made it to grand finals in that split. Haven't been back there, but it sort of worked. And so all it takes is some adjustments to your draft and the tempo of the game you're trying to play. And you can make whatever you want work as long as you're not a professional trying to work with a very limited number of viable champs.
So this friend that you were playing with, that wasn't Toad on your team now, right?
No, that's my boy Ryan, guy I went to high school with, actually.
Okay, nice. So how did you convince Toad that, all right, man, set Swain, this is what we're gonna do. I'm playing Darius bot, I'm playing Mordekaiser bot. Like, how did you get Toad on board with this? Toad might have been going into this thinking, all right, I'm playing with a marksman player or something, or this is what's gonna go down. How did you get him on board?
Well, Toad and the rest of the teammates, they know me. They've seen me perform in SDC. Some of them have been on my teams before or played with me in in-houses over there. And so,
or been smacked down by your bruiser's bot lane. At least on my case.
Or they're on the other team and I'm beating up on their bot lane or something. But they understand it's not just cheese. And after a while, I guess they think I'm fun to play with or something. And so I basically I asked Raven, because I play other video games with him. He's one of my better friends. And he brought Evan along with him from a team called Angry French Presence. What league did y'all play in?
Was that Risen? I think it was Risen.
Yeah, they were already on a team, sort of. And then so we're like, okay, well, we got 2 people. And then I just needed a jungler and a support. And so I had already reached out to Toad previously about it, because I was trying to make that first version of the team. And I was already talking to him back then. And so I was like, hey, don't plan anything. Don't join a team yet. Come play Vanquisher with me. And that's kind of how it worked out. We did some solo queues, some flex. And it's just working.
Yeah.
Luckily, he's pretty malleable and receptive to champion suggestions. So we can make some stuff work.
That's a really nice way of saying, at the beginning, Toad's champ pool that worked with Bruiser's bot was a non-intersecting circle with the champions that actually work with Revnon. And so Toad has put a lot of work into really open up his champ pool and play things that are spicier with Revnon bot lane. And
right, but you know how they say, where there's a will, there's a way. So if you see the vision and commit, you can get your results.
Now, well, certainly Toad has had to put in maybe a little bit more effort than other support players have had to make this happen. But like, the good news is it's been working, right? You guys are winning games. You're at the top of your standings. It's not like you guys are 0-7. That and Toad would kind of be like, what have I done here? No, it actually is working out for you guys. I want to ask you now, Cool Jayce, how do you like you've been on the receiving end, like you said, of this bruiser bot lane playstyle. What is it like now being on Revnon's team and you kind of being that, in some cases, solo backline carry? Because a lot of your team's compositions are just 4 melee champions with an Azir, 4 melee champions with a Syndra. How is it like playing in that type of team environment?
It's fantastic. I feel like Mr. President half the games that we play, where I have the freedom to just play all of the champions that I normally play, the Azirs, the Hueys, the Syndras, the Orianas, the whatever, scaling champions, and I know that I will have great team fight set up and protection in the middle and late game from all of my teammates coming around me. And so I get to play selfishly, greedily, and do whatever I want. And that makes for, as you might imagine, a very enjoyable mid-lane experience.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty nice. You kind of get in the Uzi treatment. All the resources go to you. I mean, sometimes your teammates are popping off as well, but you're not really competing with another AD carry, a Jinx or an Aphelios that wants to hog all those resources as well.
Not to say that Revnon ever lets me touch his waves mid, but our top laner in particular has been very accommodating and letting me vacuum 2 lanes of CS all the time.
That's always good. The team communication and synergy there. That's something that good teams need in order to be successful. But I want to ask you both. So would you say the biggest factor in your team's success is your unique playstyle, or what really is it if you had to kind of give one reason as to why Half-Orc Barbarians are 6-1 and at the top of Group C in the Vanquisher League?
I wouldn't say that the success is just due to the champs I'm picking.
Yeah.
We really have really good team synergy, and we understand like the vision for how we want to play each game generally. And so usually we're just pretty locked in on that, and we're able to lean into each other's strengths, like how Evan just described. Sometimes we'll have him be our primary carry. Sometimes we're playing for Raven to be split pushing, and we're just trying to draw attention for him. Sometimes we're looking for 5v5s, 4v1, or 4-1 splits, 1-3-1s, whatever happens. The thing is, like, everybody contributes, and it's a 4-threat team with, well, I guess 5, including Toad, but he's not a carry, you know. He carries team fights, we can tell you that sometimes, depending on the champ. But no one's like dead weight on the team or anything like that. And I only selected people that I wanted to play the game with, so it's not like an org has put me with someone who tried out and got the spot because they were the best available player. I don't find that that's actually the best approach to Amateur League. You really need to click with your teammates if you're gonna win. You can't be button heads, and you got to be agreeable.
Yeah, from the very start, I think we've all been very compatible in terms of our macro strategy, how we like to play the game. You know, Revnon handpicked people who are high skill level to start with. And then, I will say, I do think the strategy we are using has contributed to our success as well. Not that we are using it as a crutch, but I think that other teams don't play well into it. They don't draft thinking about the way the games will actually play out with Bruiser's bot lane. They don't have coherent strategies for what they're banning. They just seem to say, I hate Cho'Gath, let's get rid of that, and think about everything else later. And I think that we are a step ahead of the other teams strategically in thinking about how we want to play the game, and that's a huge advantage for us.
And that's quite clear from all the things you guys are saying. That is objectively true, right? You're playing strategies that simply are not optimal, right? And are not optimal in the sense of, you know, if you're going to take that into a pro game, it's probably not going to be the most suitable composition. But because you guys are on the same page, because you work so well together, you're beating these traditional compositions. So that's actually really important. Something for maybe people who are watching this interview in the future. You're thinking about putting certain people on your team. Well, pre-existing synergy, ease of communication, that definitely does play a factor into team success. I want to talk now about, we're heading into playoffs, but you guys as the number 1 seed are heading into the seeding stage of the Vanquisher League first, where you guys are going to play 3 best of 1s, one against TMG Death Knights, one against Elysian Esports, that was the number 1 teams in Group A and Group B, and then you'll face against the second place team in Group C, Omega Gaming, who you have already played and won that best of 3 2-0. But I want to ask you guys, have you scouted out the Death Knights yet, or Elysian yet? What are your thoughts on those 2 teams who topped their respective groups?
I've done a little bit of scouting. I don't know how much Revnon has in particular, so I can talk to you a little bit of what I've seen from the other teams we're going to go up against this coming week. I think TMG is of the other teams in this stage the strongest looking team. You know, they have the best win-loss record. They've got the highest solo queue ranks. Looks like their mid and jungle have been putting up some excellent numbers in the match results that I've seen. And I've heard good things about their top laner. I think that this is a situation where they mostly play very standard compositions, with the exception of a Vayne top here and there, and that it's going to be a really interesting battle between us. It'll depend a lot on how well they prepare and how well each of us are playing on, you know, the given day. But I think that they are, alongside us, probably the strongest teams coming into next week. Elysium, I'm really excited to play against. Death, who's going to be subbing in for them next week, and their AD carry Walt are my former teammates from a different competitive league where we played on Final Boss together. And it is going to be really exciting going up against them again. I think their ADC has been basically just switching between playing hyper carries, and the team plays around him, and playing scaling mages in the bottom lane, and then they play really heavily towards their top jungle side. And their individual players look really impressive, I think. it looks like when their top laner is getting behind, they struggle quite a bit. And they have some strategies that they really prefer, some champion picks that it looks like they use as crutches in a lot of cases. So I think that our draft is going to be a big component of if we beat them, how we're going to. And I'm really looking forward to playing them. I think that they are probably, if I had to power rank teams, the third best team in this stage. And then OMG, I'm excited to face them again. I expect it to mostly be a repeat of the 2-0 that we gave them. Was it last week? 2 weeks ago?
3 weeks actually by now.
Yeah. I think that they are overall a very fearsome team, but they suffer from a little bit of a mismatch in their skill levels and their macro game. When Drew Barrymore is getting the resources that he needs, they're AD carry, and he's getting protected, and they are playing around him and his power spikes. They're unstoppable. The rest, I don't think that they've lost to a single other team in our division, just basically through the sheer power of Drew Barrymore having incredible micro, and from what I've heard, being an excellent teammate. And we kind of saw that in our series with them a few weeks ago. But what we also saw in that series was when the rest of the map isn't pulling their weight, and Drew Barrymore has to deal with a set, a Cho'Gath, however many other characters on his face, and they don't have the flexibility to play the game that they really want to, they struggle a lot. And I think that is the main reason why I think that they're probably going to finish fourth.
I'd have to say that they will get Drew Barrymore rolling, but we were kind of able to exploit the other side of the map in both the games we played against them, and so Raven was pretty influential in us getting that sweep.
Yeah, so you guys really have you gave the meat and potatoes of what you guys think. So obviously you guys have been doing your homework. You've been preparing for these matches that are coming up this Tuesday. I want to ask you specifically now, going ahead of the seeding stage, regardless of how you do, you will be in the playoffs, of course. It just kind of depends on which, you get the luxury of picking your opponent if you do well in that seeding stage. But best of fives, full fearless. Are best of fives going to affect your team in a good way, or is it going to affect your team in a negative way? Do you guys have maybe champ pool concerns? What is your mindset going into fearless best of fives as a team?
I think we're fine. The initial thought may be that because we're doing some strange stuff bot lane, there's less stuff that works as opposed to your typical bot lane combos, but I've played so much stuff by now that we can pull something out that works.
Exactly. From the outside looking in, right, in a fearless best of five, You think, okay, 3 people are pulling from the top laner pool, plus, all the bans that go on, and so it seems like we're going to get pinched more than the other team. But what that doesn't take into account is, one, that I think our individual players have incredibly deep champion pools compared to the average, and 2 is that teams really have not pressed us at all in the bot lane. We've gotten to do the same 4 or 5 things over and over against them.
Yeah, I think
so we still have a lot left to show.
The outlier is picking Zen when it was that point in the draft, it was not a good pick. We won the game, but basically with no credit to me. I was just kind of there. So we probably won't be picking that into Braum in the future. But there's some other stuff we can whip out.
Is there ever a situation, Revnon, where it's such a good spot for a marksman or a mage that you end up foregoing your consistency with the melees and you play that? Or
no
is
comment.
It just always, even if it's doomed, even if I have to go with something like, I don't know, Trundle bot lane or something, it's always going to be a melee?
I'm not sure. It doesn't feel like I would want to do that still. I'd want to stick to my guns. Mostly, if I looked at a comp and be like, I'd rather be ranged. I'm wondering why that would be, because either if you're getting outranged, you're still getting outranged as an AD, and probably unless you're playing Kog'Maw, which is lame. if you're getting dove on, you don't want to be a marksman, you want to be a juggernaut. And if you're into a bunch of other bruisers, you probably still want to be a juggernaut. That's just how I see it. It just requires a different way of playing the game, playing around the champion that you have. That's just kind of how I think about it. I think I'm largely influenced from about 1,000 or so hours of playing Dota 2 years ago, because a lot of the carry heroes in that game are melee, and that's what you see a lot in Pro too, but that's just what the game's built around. So I was like, what if League did that? Like, what if they turned Irelia and Tryndamere and other things into like dedicated melee carries? But that really didn't come through. But I was like, I'm gonna try that anyway.
Well, there is, yeah, keep going.
Yeah, in that event, like a Game 5 Fearless, it might get a little weird. I might rely on like a tank or something. But in that case, we can just pair it with like a mage bot lane or something like that. We can just put it with a brand to substitute the damage, and we'll still have the CC and the dive capability that we work on.
You guys, hearing all of this, you guys are a nightmare to prepare against. Because seriously, how do you prepare for that? Like, you don't know what the hell you guys are gonna play. Like, specifically bot lane, like maybe they could do scouting on you, Cool Jayce, and your top and your jungler. But at least as far as bot lane goes, just all the information you're giving me here, it's like there's no chance I'm coming up with a draft plan as a coach or as like a team captain or anything like that to prepare against you guys. I'm just gonna say we're playing reactively down there for this series. As a final question, what would you guys say to the rest of the league, or what should the rest of the league know about Half-Orc Barbarians if they haven't taken a look at you guys already?
If you need help, just look through match history. There's a certain subset of champions I'm always picking already. So, I mean, if you want to help yourself, do that. It's been a fun season so far. I like the level of activity you see in Vanquisher in general. It's pretty funny. And then I'll wait to trash talk ADC players until after we win.
Oh, I like the community. I have really enjoyed playing all the teams in my division. I really look forward to seeing, what the other divisions have to offer, and I think that we've posed a very clear question to the rest of the teams in this league, and I think it's up to them how they answer that. So, yeah. We're ready.
Fair enough. Any shoutouts you guys want to give out before we close out?
Shout out Dan. Shout out Justin. Who else is in this tournament, man? I don't know. There's a lot of people I don't know, and so it makes it hard to size up.
All the content goat.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, Wasal. Get back on the content, buddy. Do your job. Yeah, it's hard to size up the other groups when you don't know everybody. Like, you wanted our opinion on the other teams, but I don't even know how strong their groups are because I don't know the player.
Yeah, so, it's fair. It's such a big league. 3 groups compared to 2 for most of them.
It reminds me of Upsurge before they like crashed and burned, because like I remember UCL, they had ballooned up to 48 teams or something. At one point I was like, yeah, at this point this is a money grab, because they just kept adding teams and more teams, but the prize pool didn't go up. So I think it was just a way for them to make money.
Oh, plus all for the content, and I think Justin, our top laner, has been, the unsung hero of the team as well. Want to give him his dues.
Oh, I was shouting out Justin, aka Moustixie. But Justin, aka Sir Raven, is also pretty cool.
All right, well, thanks guys for taking the time to be on this interview today.
Thank you for having us.
Yep, thank you.
Vote Cool Jayce. Vote Orcs 2025.
Orcs 2025. That's what we're saying heading into the playoffs. That was Half-Orc Barbarians, Revnon, and LL Cool Jayce ahead of their seeding stage matches and then the playoffs here this upcoming Tuesday on the Titan Vanquisher League. My name is Faris, showcaster here at Titan Esports. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in and watched this edition of Titan Interviews, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.